Have you ever stopped and wondered if there's a different way to do business? One where the main goal isn't just about making money for investors who might be miles away? Well, today we're going to dive into exactly that, an alternative model that's built on a totally different foundation, community and working together for a common good. So let me just ask you this. What's the main goal of a business? I bet the first thing that pops into your head is to make a profit. And look, for most of the companies we see every single day, that's absolutely true. But what if there was another answer, another purpose altogether?
And that other purpose is exactly what brings us to a different kind of business. This is one that has a fundamentally different answer to that question we just asked. We're talking about the cooperative model, and it really rethinks who a business is actually supposed to serve.
So what in the world is a cooperative, or a co-op for short? Well, put simply, it's a business that's owned and run by its members. Now, the key thing here, the part you really got to grab onto, is that its main goal isn't to make a ton of cash for outside investors. Instead, it's all about serving the needs of the very people who use it. The customers, the employees, or the producers. And that simple shift, well, it changes everything. To really get this, we need to zoom in on the core distinction, the huge difference between members and shareholders. I think this is where you'll have that real aha moment, where you see just how deep this one little change goes and how it impacts the entire reason a company even exists. Okay, so check out how this breaks down. In a standard corporation, who owns it? Shareholders, right? Outside investors. And what do they want? To maximize profit. Simple. But in a cooperative, the members themselves, the people using the service or working there, they are the owners. So their goal isn't profit for profit's sake, it's to serve their own needs. Maybe that means getting fair prices, or better services, or just having a good job. And if there are profits, they get shared right back among those members. The whole focus just flips from an external gain to an internal benefit. And this difference in ownership, it doesn't just mess with the finances, it completely changes how the business is run day to day. It leads to a much more democratic way of doing things. A true democracy in action. So how is that power spread out? Well, it's not about how many shares you own or how much money you've invested. It's about being a member, period. Each member gets one vote. That gives everyone an equal say in big policies and who's in charge. This commitment to democratic decisions just naturally creates an environment of transparency, where every single member truly has a voice in where the business is headed. Of course, let's be real. No business model is perfect. While the cooperative structure has some really incredible strengths, it also comes with its own unique set of challenges. So it's super important to take a balanced look at the whole picture. The strengths are pretty much baked right into that member-owned design. Because they're built to serve their members, co-ops are just fantastic at encouraging community development. They foster economic inclusion by sharing the profits and giving local folks a real tangible stake in their own success. It's a model that, just by its nature, is built to empower people. But on the other side of the coin, that whole democratic process can sometimes mean things move a bit slower. I mean, getting everyone to agree on something definitely takes time. And because they aren't really focused on attracting huge outside investors, co-ops can sometimes struggle to get their hands on those big pools of cash that are needed for major growth and expansion. All right, theory is great and all, but let's see how this model actually works out in the real world. For a fantastic example, we're going to take a look at Indonesia and something called the Koperasi Unit Desa, or KUD for short. So, in a lot of the rural parts of Indonesia, farming is the absolute backbone of the community. And for these farmers, the village-level cooperatives, the KUDs, are completely essential. They're basically a lifeline that provides stability and a real shot at opportunity. So what do they actually do? Well, these KUDs help the farmer members get fair prices for their crops, so they're not just at the mercy of giant buyers. They also help them get access to essential supplies, things like seeds and fertilizer. And this is the crucial part. When the cooperative does well, the profits are shared collectively among those very same farmers. This is a perfect illustration of those strengths we just talked about, fostering inclusion and empowering the local community from the ground up. So, to wrap this all up, what's the big takeaway here? Cooperatives are this really powerful business model that are built not for maximum profit, but for mutual benefit. They really represent a fundamental shift in thinking, asking us to rethink the entire purpose of what a business can be in our society. And that leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. If a business can do more than just make money, if it can actually build a community, foster equality, and truly empower its members, then what really is its ultimate measure of success? It's something to think about for sure.